when starting out, what you want to make sure that you do is you want to level out your foundation. You want to make sure that the ground is level wherever you're going to be building at. Now, you can do this in one of two ways. You can either level the entire, in this case, the hoop house that we have that we're building in. You can level the entire hoop house and make sure all the ground area is level. Or what we did is we level each component. So for instance, right here, we have these bricks in the middle, these concrete bricks in the middle, and we have leveled those out because that is where we're gonna place our floating raft unit. So that portion is leveled out, and we'll level out all of the other smaller portions of the system as well, because the system is so small. In this case, it didn't make as much sense to level out the entire hoop house, although that is something that you can do. On a larger scale, that is something you definitely want to do. So for instance, so for here, what we did was lay down a landscape fabric first, and then we place gravel on top of it. And this is to ensure that there's no grass that or weeds that begin to come up and colonize the high tunnel or the hoop house or whatever structure that you are growing in. So that's the first thing that we want to do. We put that in place. Now, real quick, I want to go back and stress on the importance of leveling. Leveling is not something that you want to overlook. You want to make sure that you have an even surface, and that's another way of saying level, an even surface all the way around, because when you build, it's just going to make your build that much easier. So I want to stress that again before we continue going on. So now we have our foundation laid. We have our foundation for our hydroponic component or our floating raft system. We have that in place. Now we want to start framing. So what I'm using here, or what we're using here in this setup, is a manufactured floating raft unit. You have two choices. You can either get it manufactured or you can build it yourself. We went over the DIY build already in the DIY builders course. If you want to go and do that, that's fine. If you have money, I'm going to make the suggestion now, and I'm going to put it out there. If you have money or money's not an issue, you're always going to want to go and get a manufactured product. That's just the way it is. If money is an issue, then you can build it yourself and you can get good results. If money's not an issue and you just want to get speed, you want to get things going, you want to go and purchase a manufactured unit, and that's without a question. And it's very simple to put together. The instructions are there. All the pieces are cut to where they need to be cut, and you just need to put them together. So we started out by taking the 1.5-inch steel bars and the 3-way corner fittings, and we pretty much squared the foundation of the floating raft unit. Each corner was connected together, and all the bottom of the frame is then squared and then connected and then drilled to keep it and hold it in place. Now, when we connected these things, you want to make sure that on the 3-way fittings, there's one of them that has a hole that goes straight through. You can see it. You want to make sure that that is vertical. The hole that goes all the way through, that one's going to be vertical, and the rest are going to be for the sides to be connected into the steel bars. Now that we have the bottom of the foundation complete and squared, we have to do the same thing for the top of it, which is going to give us about a foot of depth. So we have to basically we're doing the same exact thing we just did for the bottom, but putting it on top of what we have on the bottom. And I'll show you right now. So exactly where you want to start is, to make it easier, is we want to take a 3-way fitting, a 3-way corner fitting, and take a 12.5-inch steel tube that is provided in this particular manufactured setup. And we'll drill those together and connect those just as we did the bottom piece. Once we drill and connect that, we'll insert that into the hole that I was telling you about, that hole that you want to have vertical, that extra hole that goes all the way through. You can slide that right in there. And once that's in there, we can then secure that in with Tech screws. So that's for the first corner. Now we can hook our large 1.5-inch bars that are going to run the length of the floating raft. We're going to connect that together and then connect that piece, the end piece, to another 3-way corner fitting, which has an 1.5-inch or 12.5-inch steel bar that is connected to the bottom of the foundation. And then we'll go all the way around the hydroponic or the floating raft unit until we have all of it squared away on the top. So now we have the top and bottom portion of the foundation or of the frame connected. We want to make sure we go through, put Tech screws in each portion that requires a Tech screw to be there. All the places that require the side bars to be connected to the 3-way fitting, they need to have a Tech screw there. The vertical pipe that connects from the top three-way fitting down to the bottom three-way fitting must have Tech screws installed or screwed in order to secure the frame in place. So make sure you go around and test and check all the areas first, and then now we can move on. Now, the last portion of installing the frame is taking the 12.5-inch steel post and going around the sides and placing them evenly around the sides of the frame. You're gonna install or screw in a Tech screw on the top, and on the bottom, you're gonna connect the top rail to the bottom rail with Tech screws, and then you're gonna go evenly across all four sides until you complete and use up all of the 12.5-inch steel bars. Once you complete that, then the framing of the floating raft is complete.